Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's KP. We linked up with Stateside Gooners for a special episode during this international break. I'm going to throw on the feed and hope you enjoy it. We will be back chatting with you about the Arsenal soon after the Fulham game at the weekend. Enjoy the week and enjoy the pod.
Welcome to Stateside Gooners. We are in Season 2, Matt, Episode 79. And we have some very interesting stuff going on today that we're going to be talking about. One of them, as I open today, is Daniel Levy is no longer with Tottenham. Tottenham, since in his era, in the Daniel Levy era, which is 25-ish years, have been the most profitable Premier League club, and that's a long time. And so they are the champions of profitability, if you will. Vinay Venkatesham, Matt?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, right. He was our CEO for a hot minute. Before that, he was the London 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games, as part of the British Olympic Association. But he came to work for us, replacing Ivan Gazidis, who wasn't great for us. Vinay wasn't great for us. And I don't know. I hope that he's not really great for Tottenham either. Maybe he becomes Agent Venkatesham.
Maybe he does. Let's hope.
So I don't know if you guys have any comments on that. We don't have to really expand on it, but I think it's funny. Every Tottenham fan that I know has hated Daniel Levy and have blamed him for their lack of trophies. They win one trophy finally, first in I think 19 years and second in a really long time.
Now he's gone.
Now he's gone, and so what's going to happen? And I guess we'll find out. I think they're still going to suck because Vinay wasn't good for us.
And Eric, we have guests with us today.
We do.
We are doing a joint podcast episode today with District Gooner Pod, and that's KP and Steven. We had done something back in the summer. We thought it'd be good to get together here during the interlull. I don't know if did you guys watch the U.S. game last night? Was it last night? Oof.
Caught a little bit.
I am dreading the World Cup. Let's
welcome these guys and golf clap.
Yes. Welcome to the show, guys.
Welcome to Stateside Gooners.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us. We're excited to catch up.
So I think I had an initial question for you both, and that's this. Why did you guys start your show? Where can our listeners find you? All that stuff.
Oh, sure.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
Here's your ad.
Thanks. Well, we started a podcast 3 years ago. We're based out of DC, and we love football. We both played. I've coached for a little bit, and we enjoyed talking about it. So as we kind of found some time, we got together, had the idea, and it's kind of easy, right? It's fun to also just try things out. You learn a little bit about audio editing, a little bit about just what goes into building a podcast. And then we just started chatting, trying to get some common sense perspective out there. That's our kind of mission.
And you guys met like the day before you started your podcast?
We go way back. So me and KP met back in, we were in junior high, young things. We were like 13 years old. So junior high school, went to separate colleges. Obviously, we're thick as thieves. I want to say we're boys back in Arizona. Comes back, ASU and the party scene. KP would come back to town, take him out for a night. Ended up obviously as adults getting jobs. We live about a half mile away from each other here in DC.
Get out.
Crazy. Yeah, crazy. So obviously connected back, like he's saying. We used to watch a game together. Obviously go to the bar, maybe have a drink. We're talking about the team, and it's like, well, why don't we just turn it into a podcast? Like, that'd be kind of fun. It's like a new thing for us. And here we are, 3 years later, District Gooner Pod.
Well, congratulations on
3 years.
of
That's
a
great.
podcast. Yeah, and I think it's incredible, and obviously it was meant to be that you guys ended up all the way on the East Coast from Mountain, I guess Arizona is, but all the way here and living that close to each other, you could smell each other's laundry.
The valley.
So we talked earlier in the summer. How's your summer been? You guys do anything fun?
Not bad. I mean, it's been hot, humid here. Not terrible. A lot of work traveling myself. I've been out to Hawaii, Guam, Montana, all, if you can name it, up in the mountains, up on the ocean. I've kind of been there. So it was kind of a fun summer for myself. What about you, KP?
Yeah, summer's been good. I've enjoyed it. Obviously, last time we spoke, we did the season recap together. Good chat, actually. I was trying to listen to some of it today to see kind of what things are going to come up. But no, the summer's been good. Traveled a little bit, laid low a little bit. Mostly kept my eyes on Berta, man. That's where I've been.
Heard.
I hear that.
How about you two?
Yeah, how about you guys?
Oh, just family vacations, that sort of stuff. Heading to the beach. I did watch, as much as I could, I watched the 2025 Euros, the women's Euros. That was fun.
Nice.
Just lots and lots of really good games. I don't know if you guys had a chance to catch any of that or not, but really good games.
Yeah, one or two. I caught the final, the penalty shootout. It was a nice watch.
Germany and France was epic. If you
Really?
get a chance to go back and watch it, watch it. Germany, red card early in the match. They survive. They just survive and win in penalty. It's great. It's a great match to watch.
Last year, somewhere around a third or a quarter of every one of our podcasts was about the women's team. And so this year we split it out. And so we have already a podcast that's just for the women. So Matt's very focused on that, watches most of the games, but is very aware of what's going on there. And for a while, Arsenal Women's Club had the most expensive player acquisition in the women's game, period. First $1 million player, and from Penn State, if I recall, right?
She spent a season at Penn State.
Yeah.
Not long enough, though. Not long enough to graduate. I don't think she... Yeah. No degree.
Well,
but that's
when you're
okay.
that good and you're the most expensive player in the world, I think, there's reason maybe you didn't matriculate.
That's really cool. You're speaking of Olivia Smith, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Did you catch their season opener? I think they just played Saturday morning.
Yes,
did.
and she scored the first goal.
Did you see the goal?
It was
That was a banger,
brilliant,
right? Yeah.
brilliant goal. Yep.
So money well earned, it looks like.
It is going to be
Yes.
fun.
The keeper, London City Lionesses, who also Matt's very fond of, mainly because the owner is the owner. Matt, you want to take over from there?
She's the owner of your local Washington Spirit football club. She also owns Lyon over in France, the women's club. So she's got 3 different clubs. I don't know how it works whenever they have to play one another. Does she favor one over the other? We'll see. All these clubs eventually are going to have to play one another.
The London City Lionesses went up 1-0 on a penalty kick by our very young, historically right back who played center back. She had a great first challenge inside the box, and then the ball popped away. And when she went for a second challenge, it went to a penalty kick. So they got the first goal of the season against us. But after that, it was destruction. And yeah, Olivia Smith scored a beautiful goal 20 minutes later, 15 minutes. I don't remember, but yeah, it was great.
Yeah, this multi-club ownership has been growing a lot, and I'm just kind of curious actually how you all feel about that, or if you have any perspective on kind of one person owning multiple clubs, although not being in the same kind of region or league.
Well, I'll point to Michelle Kang first off, because she essentially took the manager from the Spirit, who this summer she took him. I can't remember his name. took him and put him in charge of Lyon, and he used to run Barcelona a couple of years ago. So she's made moves basically to move this manager around, and now he's managing the Lyon team. I think that kind of sucks, especially if you're a Spirit fan, because
there's a ton of stories about him.
Midway through the season, he's gone. So what do? You're now left with the backup sort of manager, and they're not a bad club. They're pushing for the NWSL title as well. So I think that part of it stinks. KP.
Two of her clubs though are very different. Lyon she owns the women's team, but they're backed by the men's team as well, as Arsenal women are. What's different about her other two teams?
Well, the London City Lionesses, they are essentially, they don't have a men's component to them. It's solely a women's club, and that's how it is growing. And that's the interesting part about the London City Lionesses. They're just an interesting project. I'm fascinated to watch it grow and develop, because they are definitely in it for the long haul. Bought like 13 or 14 players this summer, all kinds of places. So I'm interested to watch them. And they did put up a really good fight this weekend. So
we lost. My take on multi-team ownership is we lost our sporting director, or whatever his title was, Edu, to a team like that. Marianakis is his name. And he's got 3 or 4 or 5 different teams in different leagues. I don't even really know. And I suppose when you look at some of these scenarios and situations where there are multiple teams, you can buy a 250,000 pound player or whatever from an academy and put him in one of these leagues that's Greece or Turkey or somewhere else, and watch them if they're going to grow or not. Instead of having them in your academy, they're getting first team club football at that level, and you can move them up from one league to the next until they're ready or not for Premier League, but they're helping whatever league they're in. So maybe there's a benefit to it, but I like the way that our owners are multi-team ownership, but every team is in a different league, and I like it. I like it that way, meaning a different sport even.
Yeah, I bet they're excited. I bet they're excited for the NFL. Just started back up. Obviously, football is picking back up after all the investments that they've made, not just this past summer, but really the last 5 years. So I imagine they're pretty pumped. And it looks like they've been showing up to a lot of the games. That I've appreciated a lot more recently.
Yeah, I have appreciated ownership's involvement, and that kind of brings us around to what happened this summer. Boy, did ownership get involved, right? They basically turned over the entire cash to Berta and said, "Go do," right? What did you guys?
Show me the money. Open the war chest.
Show everybody the money, right? Oh my goodness. We've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7? Is 8. That 7, 8 acquisitions over the summer?
Not in order, but Gyökeres, Eze, Madueke, Zubamendi, Mascara, Hincapi, Kepa, and Norgard. So 8, yep. And I think, to use your Jerry Maguire, Stephen, help me help you, Rod, right? So when I start to think about, our sporting director, I think, you need to go buy players, but you should be able to sell. So let's talk about Berta and, what do we think about the buys? Let's walk through that real quick. And what do we think about the sells? Because they say that we got 16.7 million, but I don't see all of it. I see less than 10. But even if we got 16, did anybody expect more?
So I would say with the buys, we've had this discussion of like rating the window, right? With the buys, I mean, can you ask for anything more? Well exceeded my expectations, I think, from the general sentiment of everybody. Well exceeded. Right? I mean, the cherries on the top of the cherries on top of the whipped cream, right? Like, we're getting the best of the best.
That's awesome.
But as far as the sells go, not there. I don't think in his first transfer window, I didn't expect a big change in that. I think he's shown at Atletico he can sell, right? I think he's shown that. It's in his locker. I think it's now once we put out this first season into next summer, possibly even January. I think there's already a few names that are lining up as potential outgoings in January. I guess that's where we'll see it. But as far as incomings go, I mean, can you ask for anything more? I say no.
No, I absolutely agree with Steven. Honestly, I think last time we spoke, we told you that we're not so connected to have the sort of full insights when they were deciding on who the director would be. But we thought he had the quarterback face, and he's been showing his face as much as he can. So it's been really great. And honestly, for selling, it's really hard to kind of point to him and say that you're at fault for not bringing in a lot of money. Everyone knows the players that we're selling are not necessarily sort of going to go for top market value because we're not selling our best players. So you're going to kind of face that.
From a product perspective, he didn't have good product to sell.
Yeah, and Atletico, when he's made those huge sales, they've been like good players.
But I mean, you see Liverpool, they wind up selling their players, and they're not their best players. They wind up selling them for top dollar all the time.
Chelsea too.
Chelsea's the same way. Chelsea sells them to us, to be fair. But yeah, I was happy with all of the incomings. The one that I wanted to double dip on the striker position. I really did want to get Ollie Watkins. That was the cherry on the top for me. I really wanted a proven guy to back up Gyökeres. That's what I wanted to see. But oh well, it didn't happen. But boy,
whipped cream on top of the cherry on top of the cherry.
Well, and the sprinkles are somehow in there.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy's.
Yeah, I'm not a sprinkle guy myself, but point taken.
We split at the beginning of the summer on, without knowing anybody that we were buying or selling or moving on, even through loans. We split at the beginning of the summer on how much time we were going to give Mikel. So where is everybody on whether to keep? We'll start with KP. How long are we going to keep Arteta, and what circumstances have to happen before he goes?
Well, I mean, Arteta, we just had a huge conversation about him after this Liverpool game. When I look at the way the season has started, 2 wins, 1 loss, very difficult first away game. I honestly believe that Manchester United's season, or at least their start to the season, could be completely different if we don't win that game. So it goes under the radar, the sort of effects that it could have had. But overall, we spoke and I told you that come December, come January, really depends on how we're doing and if there has been improvements in the one thing that matters to me the most, which is in-game management and substitutions. And so far, at least, I haven't seen a huge improvement, but it's also hard for me to sit here today and say, oh, let's get rid of him in January. Like, I have to see him kind of try and at least have the full squad available to him. He's already missing so many players. That's kind of silly, man.
And it's only 3 opportunities to make those substitutions.
Right.
I'm going to go on the flip of this, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. And I think we were on the same page at the beginning of the summer. Full season, huge summer just came in. I think I know me and KP talked about this. Was like, this is the most crucial season to actually maybe produce a trophy. As I'll say in the past 3 years, like this is the season. Even if it's a Carabao Cup, I think it's pretty crucial to take us there. But I'd still give them the full season. I don't see us in January being 15 points behind. If that's the case, maybe I'll reevaluate. But as of right now, I'm saying full season. Matt, tell me you're with me.
Yeah, I'm still with you on giving the season. Now, I will throw one caveat in there. We just talked about the summer and the player acquisition, the talent that we've acquired, the depth that's been made. I know, KP, you made the the very astute observation. We don't have a full squad yet, which is crazy after a few games. You know, we've got Saliba's out, we've got White out, we've got. I mean, you can run down the list of players that are still injured, testing our depth already. It's crazy. So I'm willing to give him the whole season because of the acquisitions that we had. I think he needs some time to have them gel together. Eric?
Matt, that's exactly the reason why I'm looking at Christmas and New Year's, because with the squad that we gave him, well, we didn't give him a squad. It wasn't my 250 million pounds. The squad that he was given, the striker maybe isn't the greatest striker, but we've seen the guy score, and he can score. We're not feeding him. Aside from that, if we're, so we lost the league by 10 points. If we're 5 or 6 points behind at Christmas, if we're out of one of the cups, FA or soft drink cup, then I'm looking at whether or not I need to let him go. And things like you're talking about, KP, where whether or not he's making good managerial decisions, not even just who to substitute in, but who's going to start, which players are going to start which games and which are going to get minutes, from the bench. When they could have started, Saliba doesn't need 4,000 minutes again. We just don't need that kind of minutes on these players. So if he's not doing the things that we've talked about and you guys have talked about that make a good manager, and we're 6 points behind halfway through out of a cup, not doing well in Champions League, he's got to go. We need somebody who can come in and do the job with a $1.15 billion valued squad.
Yeah, I mean, the value of the squad is kind of naturally going to keep going higher. I'm not sure if this is the peak of the value of the squad that we have, unless we see some huge sales next summer. But for Mikel himself, I just feel like talking about him is a little difficult because there is sentiment involved, but there's also this aspect of like me just personally not being educated enough to say, sack him in January and go and get this other guy. Like, I don't know who the other guy is. And when I look at some of these other clubs, I really struggle with kind of sitting here with my chest and saying, get him out in January if I'm not seeing him making subs, because there's a part of me that thinks just as players develop their attributes differently year over year, unless they're wearing 11, the manager should be developing his attributes differently year over year. So hopefully this other stuff is going to come.
I think that's fair. I think the issues we've had with them are pretty glaring, and they haven't improved. That's our issue. That's our main talking point when we talk about Arteta. It's like, this isn't like out of the blue. This has been year after year. Young manager, is it ever gonna reach the point where AirPods gets a hold of his shirt and is like, no, make the substitution, make the right move, blah blah blah.
AirPods.
Yeah, AirPods.
Remind our visitors who AirPods is.
So Albert, what's his last name?
Stuyvenberg.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
that's hysterically funny.
It's there. It's all there. We can all see it. Just make the change.
Well, we did get, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but we did get a ex-Manchester United number 3 who's supposed to come in and really kind of put the hammer down on these guys and support Arteta in a number of different ways. So is that going to have a long-term, short-term, medium-term, like where we think about he's supposed to be really good?
Yeah, I think he has more of the attacking mindset. I can see his face. I cannot remember his name.
Keep talking. I'm going to get it.
You're going to go find it?
Yeah, I mean, Gabriel Hines, I think, is who you're speaking about. Mm-hmm. And for us, again, let's see if he is making any differences. I've seen a lot of photos of him in trainings kind of getting into players' faces. I don't know so much about coaches, but I have seen this kind of different side that maybe Carlos Cuesta, for example, wouldn't be able to do that to a Bukayo Saka, but maybe this guy is.
I feel like we had Wenger, and we didn't talk about this with you guys at all, but we had Wenger 10 years too long, in my opinion. I think that Arsenal was soft because Wenger was a soft touch as a coach, and he was like Carlos Cuesta before Carlos Cuesta. We just didn't see it. Cuesta would be the guy who brings him into the video room, sits down. Hey man, this is what you did. Here's maybe some alternatives that you could have done in difference. And maybe Hines is going to jump in their face right in practice or right at the game when they get to halftime and point his finger at their nose and go, you fucked it up. Here's why you fucked it up, and you better fucking fix it. And we hear we hear Arteta doing that stuff when we watch the HBO or whatever it is, Apple, show, and he's in there drawing pictures of brains and hearts, but he's bombing these guys left and right. And I think we need more of that. And I really like Carlos Cuesta, and we're going to miss him, but we're not winning trophies, and we need someone else to jump in there and be the bad guy, maybe to just go nose to nose with some of these dudes and bring their best out in a different way.
Yeah, if we're not seeing a single trophy by the end of this season, I think it does warrant a serious conversation. But like, honestly, 3 games in, what's been your kind of takeaways? Like, how are you feeling? Are you still pretty optimistic about what could happen? Or have you already thrown in the towel? Like, let's get rid of this guy preseason? Because there was some people during preseason that were saying, I've seen enough.
Matt already knows this, and our listeners know that the word that I use all the time is optimism, optimistic. And even when it's awful, the only thing we have left besides misery and, worse than that is to be optimistic and to believe that things are going to be the way that we expect them to be. And even the energy that we put out into the universe, I believe, has an effect. So we're sitting here right now, but when we're watching the game, the 4 of us, if we're putting out negative energy, the universe feels that, man. And if there's billions or millions, I wish it was billions of Arsenal fans, there's millions of Arsenal supporters out in the world, and they're all going negative because we got a goal scored on us in the first 5 minutes. The universe feels that, man. So we need to be optimistic all the time. And yes, some of us are going to be allowed to have that feeling of like, I'm frustrated, and frustrated is okay, but stay positive because it matters. You got to put that positive energy out into the universe, and it comes back to you. And the way it can come back to us is by us being positive and our team winning because we're positive. Look at what difference it made, KP and Steven and Matt, when Arteta came in, and how he worked so hard to bring the in-stadium crowd back towards the team and say, we need you, we need that energy. And they gave it, and we started winning more games. The same theory applies. Even though they can't hear us, that energy matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess at the end of the day, that's what I struggle the most with where we are today, with the changes that he has made culturally. Does it warrant throwing chaos into it in January? And that at the end of the day, maybe feels like, we'll see. But I am very happy. Like you said, optimism is good to have. And I'm just really hopeful that everyone returns from this international break healthy.
Absolutely. Matt?
So let's talk about the early season. We're 3 games in. We have the loss, which we've gone through at length a little bit on our show. I'm sure you guys did the same thing for yours. But I will say this, going back to your point, KP, about managing players, the Leeds lineup that the manager put out there, I thought was reasoned for the opponent. It was a lineup that was geared to get a result against a specific opponent. It wasn't, I'm putting my best 11 out there. So I do think perhaps he's learning some lessons in that regard. And of course, you wind up with 5 goals, so that's not a bad result there.
I think that was a good indication. We like to say, we call it run it back mode. And it's when Arteta sees something that he likes, like when Eddie Nketiah started for 10 games in a row. He really likes it. And it runs into the ground, right? We have other options. Maybe like Trossard can play there just for a couple games, give the team another look. That's Leeds games as a perfect example of we have the players, we have the depth. It's a new look for a new team. We didn't plan for this. Madueke on the left, it's something they aren't prepared for. I'm all for it. I listened to your last episode after the Liverpool game, and you said something about the cat and mouse type game, and we need more of the cat. And I really like that. That's what I think we expect. Everybody knows we're the defensive team. What was it? 3 years ago? 2 years? I'm thinking it was 3 years ago when we used to get on top of teams early, within the first 10 minutes, get a goal. Now we have such a defensive setting on us. It's like, yeah, why not go forward? When you turn around, you have Big Gabby, you have Saliba, you have Mosquera, you have Tim. I mean, you can obviously, I can just keep naming players, right? I got like 6 or 7 in the bag. It's like, yeah, like let's just go forward. Let's get a goal early and shut up shop. 1-0 to the Arsenal. That's it.
The difference, I think, and Matt and I have talked about this a while, maybe you can kind of dig into this a little bit, but the whole thing, Matt, about chaos versus control. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that sort of theory that you have?
Well, and I think everybody here understood when Arteta first came in, he was all about, it was a chaos. It was a much more of a aggressive sort of mindset. Get the crowd back into, get the fans back with you. And then that second season, it started to become this one of control. So all of a sudden, Zinchenko's not really the guy anymore. Or maybe it was the second or third season at this stage. So now what's going to happen next? He needs to develop that. He needs to reintroduce chaos, reintroduce that attack. Because right now, all last season, it was all about control. The season before, it was all about control. I want to see some unexpected things. I really do.
He has spoken about that, right? The desire to be unpredictable. So maybe they all make fun of the phases, but there are phases involved in things. So if phase 1 is chaos, just to get some points on the board, and phase 2 is control to try to solidify your position, and maybe phase 3 is unpredictability, because now you have the full quality to change things up.
And our forwards seem like they have become very predictable. Saka, kind of going in, cutting inside and hitting from the right side of the 18 into the far corner. Martinelli sprinting to the end line and then either doing a little move and crossing hard and low, or turning around and coming back to the midfield so we can do that umbrella move back and forth and back and forth. What do you guys think about the unpredictability, to use your word, of now Eze, Madueke, and I think Ricky Calafiori as well. I mean, he's the master of unpredictability and chaos. So what are your thoughts on that?
I guess going full circle, optimism. I feel optimistic about it. I mean, even going into the midfield, all those players you just named, whether it's Martinelli, Eze, Gyökeres, Kai Havertz, Saka, Madueke. I mean, so almost 6 names in the front line. Also have Dauman, Waneri, right? I think it's all about the variation and how you use them. In the midfield, Marino, Odegaard, Rice, was it Norgard? Like, there's so much variation that we have. I think it's all about using them separately like that. Like, that's what it's all about.
I have to tell you, Norgard is Arsenal through and through. To sign in the summer, and I still haven't seen this guy play, welcome to the club.
He's not the first player we bought that was injured. Shell.
Well, hopefully he gets on the pitch, because I don't want it to be a Kallstrom situation.
That's it. Yeah. Kallstrom. Yeah. I mean, we bought him injured, and he played a handful of games, and none of them were meaningful. So if Norgard is that, then no thank you. But hopefully he comes back and is able to be the backup in that spot, because he's quality.
Yeah, I mean, he played in the preseason a couple of games, right? So it's not like he was injured right off the bat, but I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen him, and maybe he could have had some time at Liverpool. I mean, this is another guy that played 90 game in, game out for Brentford, it feels like, and he just puts on an Arsenal shirt, and suddenly he's in the stands.
Are we cursed?
We might be, man. We might be. I mean, how do you answer all of these injuries?
No answer. Absolutely no answer. Every time I look in the papers, it's like, another one. I'm just happy when it comes out and everybody's healthy.
The thing with us is I feel like we get the most training injuries. Like, I see a lot. Other teams have injuries, obviously, as well, but a lot of them I feel like are often in games. But with us, it's the suddenly Havertz isn't available for 3 months because something happened in practice. Where did that come from?
Last year, Brighton had 1,944 days lost. Tottenham had 1,553, Ipswich 1,506, and Arsenal 1,297 days lost where players could not play. Your top four: City 115 lost 1,134. Liverpool, champions, lost 765. So when you look at that, it's 500 days difference between how many we lost, more than that, and how many Liverpool lost, and we still finished second. It's not that we're cursed, but we seem to have maybe these injuries to our best players.
Perhaps. And then that's the other angle that it's like, well, Mikel deserves a little bit of credit, right? I got to give him a little bit of credit.
And at the same time, are they overused, Matt? And that's how they got the injuries? Did we feel like that last year with Saka, maybe?
Yeah, I think you see it with Saliba, you see it with Big Gabby, you see it with Saka, you see it with Odegaard, or at least you saw it. Now, Odegaard's injury is a fluke because he's away on, international duty, and that happens. But still, to have those four be gone for such long periods of time last year, that was hard. That's hard. And we're starting off this season in the same darn fashion. 4 weeks with Saka. I think I shared something with you guys today. I saw that it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks for Saliba at this point, missing some really, really key important fixtures. So I hope Mascara's ready.
He
right?
looks like he's ready. Yeah, he looks ready.
Yeah, absolutely. With these, though, if I could just say real quick, with these, it's always difficult. We sit here and we always say, Saka, we don't want to see him play 90. But honestly, when Saka's healthy, he has to start the game. Saliba, when he's healthy, he has to start the game. He can't make this, because it goes beyond just the game. It goes to someone traveling from abroad to go to the Emirates and watch the game. And they're there to see Saka play. Let's be honest.
It might be different when you play at home and when you play on the road. Is that kind of where you're going?
Sure.
What about the Arsenal fan who travels internationally? He happens to be in, I was going to say Stoke, but let's say Newcastle, our bogey team these days, and he wants to see us play our best players. So, I don't know. I guess it might be easier to get a ticket in Newcastle. We're getting older. Our team is getting older. I put a little bit in there about that, but before we get into our season expectations by each competition, what are your thoughts on bringing in more experienced players? Our goalkeeper average is 30.5. Defenders is still young at not quite 24. Midfielders are an average of 25 years old, and our attack is much older at 26. I remember 2 seasons ago, maybe the whole team average was 23, and we're 2.5 years older than that right now. Is that a benefit to us?
I think we're in a good place. I think a few years ago it was an issue potentially. I think we're in a good place now, whether we're talking about Declan Rice, so at 24, 25, Saka, 20, I think he's turning 24 soon. These aren't yes, they're young, but they're experienced veteran players. Obviously bringing in guys like Norgard, Gyökeres is 27. I don't see it as an issue anymore. I used to see it as an issue, but not anymore.
I agree. I also just feel like we have to get used to these players being able to play a lot longer. I just watched a couple of these NFL games, and Aaron Rodgers is playing at 40 years old. So we just have to get used to this, man.
I think that's the outlier.
Yeah, Ronaldo is still playing, but he's not even playing in Europe. Messi is still playing, and he's not quite as old. He's 36, 37. Ronaldo's 39, but they're also, the best of the best, maybe ever. Ronaldo takes care of his body in ways that I can't even imagine. So I don't know that at top level, like a team like Arsenal and a club like Arsenal and a league like the Premier League, I don't know that much over 30 to 33 is really going to be able to continue playing in a top. Even Ronaldo, 35, he wasn't good when he was in Manchester. He was terrible.
You think he wasn't good, or you think Manchester United wasn't good?
Did his not being good contribute, or vice versa? I don't know. It's a great question. We'll never know.
Well, I happen to like the age profile that we're in overall. The goalkeepers, I like that they've got that age to them. They've got a little bit of seasoning. They've been there, seen it. And the defenders being so young, that's the one that's kind of the outlier in all of this. But I think that's driven largely by MLS and Big Willie, right? I mean, they're both so terribly young. They shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be doing the things that they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think overall, I like the age profile. We're ready to. We're primed
pretty young
to
too,
win.
right?
Yeah, he's also young.
Yeah.
So we've got a bunch of young defenders.
So let's talk about each competition, you guys. Where is Arsenal going to finish? And maybe give us a top 4. Steven, you want to start?
By top 40, are you talking about in the Premier League? Are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. My top 4 in the Prem. The top 3 I think is pretty easy. I was gonna say City, Liverpool, Arsenal. I don't think City have really impressed me this so far. I mean, we're only 3 games in, but they're a team that, as time goes on, Pep will get them to where he wants them to be. So that's my top 3. My 4th, and it pains me to say this, but I do believe it's going to be Chelsea. I don't see, I'm just not seeing another team there. I'm waiting to see a Newcastle. I guess Newcastle is kind of my dark horse, but I think Chelsea has that spot.
Yeah, I think, Steven and I are pretty matched up on this, but I will tell you, I think that Tottenham did end up with a pretty good window at the end of the day. To me, it feels like, at least going forward. So they might surprise people a little bit. I don't know if top 4, but they might surprise people a little bit more than we expect.
I can't believe you said that.
Thank you.
Well, honestly, we treat it like a footballing pod, so I'm just saying my truth.
I hear you.
What do we think about Tottenham? Like, shit, like, ew. First of all, they had chances to get 3 or 4 players, including a very important one, and they got gazumped more than once. So them coming around and losing Eze to us is hysterically funny to me. That he called Arteta like, "Are you sure you want me to play for Tottenham?" And then he went, "No, I'll call him aboard right now." But so I don't know. They ended up with 2nd and 3rd and 4th choices, and so I can't back you on that one, KP. I think they had a terrible window.
Yeah, they're sitting 4th right now. So I'm just saying, it's still early, but I'm just saying.
After one game, and they beat City, my Tottenham friends sent me, screenshots of the table because they were 1st and we were 2nd or 4th or something, and I'm like, yeah, you guys can have that after one game. It's like the Major League Baseball after April. Who cares?
Yeah, they're pretty quick with that, to be fair.
What are your thoughts, Matt?
So I'm with Steven. I've got those same top 3. I also throw in Chelsea in the top 4, but I'm going to go ahead and give you 5 and 6. I would throw Newcastle in there at 5th, and I would also put Nottingham Forest in there at 6th, just because. Give Edu some love. Right.
Funny. Not me. I do think it's going to be between Arsenal and Liverpool for the win. If they didn't get Isak, I would absolutely have us in the top spot. But Isak's going to make a difference. So, and then I think it's going to be Chelsea who finishes ahead of City. So I put Chelsea 3rd and City 4th. And if I'm doing 5th and 6th, I don't think I have Newcastle. I think Isak was so important. His goals were so important there that I would be surprised if they finished in a European spot. And I think it's possible at some point, either during this season or over the summer, they don't bring somebody else in, higher profile manager. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. I think we're going to look at because Ollie Watkins and other things they did, keeping their goalkeeper Emmy and other things. I think that Aston Villa has a good shot, and I wouldn't be surprised. To see Fulham do a lot better.
Fulham on the rise. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think Fulham.
I don't know that they'll be in Europe.
Yeah,
I don't know that they'll be in Europe, but I feel like they could. I think we're not going to see the same out of Forest as we saw last year. I just don't. I think they had a lot of luck, a lot of low XG goals.
Yeah, hopefully Fulham pull some upsets. You know, this season in particular, I'm looking at this league and I'm thinking that I want to see other people play their part. I feel like last season everyone was so quick to be pointing fingers at Arsenal, and I was just thinking like, Steven and I, like, where are you? Where is your club? So if other people can step up and try to make a challenge a little bit, that would be nice, because I fully believe that we can win this league.
I think Brighton has an outside shot somewhere in there as well to finish potentially in a European spot. But let me ask you guys this. We warmed it up a little bit. What are your thoughts about Arsenal? They have the highest squad value, and you said earlier that you don't know if that matters. But these players, if they were to be sold and the value they're at today, that's why I'm saying they have to win. We have such a high value of these players and have spent this money, and if we sold them, they'd be worth 1.15 billion, more than anybody else. Even Liverpool, after they bought him, is still 1.1 billion. So does that not count at all?
I think it does add pressure. Like, I totally agree with that. There is a lot of pressure. I kind of look back at Liverpool, reigning champs. They just bought 2 players worth over 100 million pounds. Like, that to me is also like, well, there's a lot of pressure on them. If Isak and Wirtz don't show up and do the business, I find that to be an issue on their side. Competition-wise, though, I expect at least one final between the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. I'm just going to say that. Champions League, I believe we are one of the best teams in Europe. I think that we proved that last season. Mm-hmm. Semi-final range, right? Winning the actual league, I'm going to say that might be the most difficult thing. Like, I can see us doing well in Europe because of the way everybody plays. The way folks play us in the Premier League, they know how to play us. They know our weaknesses. They know how to sit in the mid block, the low block. I think that's our most challenging competition. That's just how I see it. There's a lot of pressure, especially externally, and that's not within the Arsenal group. It's the other 19 teams looking at us, wanting to poke the fun, I guess, and we are the most valued squad. Like, I get that. But it's a tough competition. I expect us to be there at the end of in May. I expect us to be right there, if not winning it. But I guess we'll see.
So what I've heard from you, Stephen, is you think we're going to compete on all fronts. We're going to compete for the league title. We're going to compete for the Champions League semifinals and beyond.
No, so I'd say the two competitions, so like the league and the Champions League, both of those we're going to be in them. And then one of the 2 domestic cups. One of the 2 I expect us to be, whether it's the final semi, I expect us to be there. I guess we were last year in one of them. That's just what I expect. Depth, man. The depth is there. What are the excuses? I don't know if there's many excuses left to give at this point.
I don't know that some of our B team players aren't as good.
Yeah.
And in some cases better. Is Martinelli really on the A team when it comes to our left wing? I don't know that we have drop-offs going from A team to B team.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time because, I mean, you look at the squad value. That squad value is also earned. It's not like I wonder how much of that squad value is actually bought. 2 of them come to mind, right? Declan Rice and, all right, I would throw Eze in there. But the rest of them, I mean, Bukayo, Big Gabby was like 27 million.
Yeah,
now his value today, that's what I mean by saying that the value is always going to keep going up right now because our team is so good, and we just went over the age profiles. Based on those age profiles and these values, I mean, next year, if these players now add trophies to their resumes, their value is just going to go higher.
You make a great point. I love it. So where are we going to finish, Matt? Let's talk about those other 3 cups.
Well, the soft drink cup, that's for the kids. So I think, we're going to have, whatever you want to call your B team.
That's the Carabao Cup.
Whatever those players are, right. We're going to have those players up until the semifinals, and then I think you start to take it a little more seriously because you're close enough, you can taste it, you want to win something. I feel
which flavor when you can taste the soft drink cup?
Blueberry? No. Is that a soda drink? No, it can't be. That would be awful, wouldn't it? No, and I think similarly, you're going to take a same approach to the FA Cup. For whatever reason, we have just been stinkers in the FA Cup the last 2 seasons. I think we've gone out in the first round, or the first time we've played. So I think we got to take that a little bit more seriously, just to see how that plays itself out. But I'm wholly focused on Champions League and League. That's where I want them to be 100% laser focused. I want both. I want both of them. Do the double there, and I'll be thrilled.
KP?
I think that's where things are going to get really interesting, right? If we are in a Carabao Cup semifinal, which is usually like in that end of January, February time, right? And we lose that semifinal, what kind of impact is that going to have kind of going into the end of the season? I worry about that a little bit. Personally, I think that the FA Cup and the Energy Drink Cup will be competing, but I worry that we're going to make it far enough in those without a trophy and it could impact the rest of the season. But
the disappointment of losing that carries forward.
Yeah, because I mean, immediately imagine we're in the semifinal of the Carabao Cup and we lose. The talking points are already written. You just know exactly what people are going to say.
It wouldn't be bad if it was to one of the teams we said are going to be in the top 4, right, in the Premier League. But if it ends up that somebody like I don't know, West Ham or Brighton or somebody lower like Wolves or something are in the semifinal and we lose to them, that's going to be awful.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to see us go really far in the Champions League. We've discussed this on our pod. The Champions League is kind of our measuring stick for the manager's performance, really, this season. Because the league, we feel like we know how competitive we are, and we want to see us go really far in the Champions League.
Eric?
Is there a league that's better top to bottom, more competitive top to bottom, even including the promoted teams, than the Premier League? I mean, people say it's the best team in the world, the best league in the world. Maybe not the best league in the world, because the La Liga in Spain always wins the biggest trophies, generally speaking. So are they the best? I don't know. But top to bottom, I mean, it's any given Sunday kind of play, because you can lose or draw to anyone and affect your title chances in this league.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry about that. It feels pretty good to win the European Cup, though. At the end of the day, you want to be European champions, so that would carry a lot more weight.
We didn't mind it when the women won, right, Matt?
Oh my gosh, such a thrilling moment last season. So yeah, that was definitely good, and I do think that Arsenal are built to. This year's team is built to compete on all 4 fronts. With the depth that we've talked about here, all the acquisitions, I think, provided the manager is able to do it and can juggle all 4 competitions. I mean, that's something that I don't know. Has any club ever done that? I mean, surely Barcelona or Real Madrid have done something similar.
I think Barcelona had a year where they won at Messi's peak 6 trophies.
Yeah.
3 that were domestic, and
Wow.
then 3 that were international. So the Champions League, and then the World Cup, and I forget whatever it's called, the Club World Cup predecessor, and then something else. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, so they won 6. I think, if I recall, City 2 years ago won 4. I think they won the 3 domestic and the Champions League. Or 2 of the 3 domestic Champions League and the equivalent Club World Cup, something like that.
I just remember a couple of seasons ago when Liverpool were aiming for all 4. They were still alive for all 4, and they didn't. I think they may have gotten just 1.
I think they didn't win any. If they did, it was Carabao Cup.
Yeah, they won 1 maybe. So it's hard, I guess, is my point. It's a really hard thing to do. It's very rare, but boy, wouldn't it be? I think this team is capable. It's just a matter of and I hate to say it, luck fall on our side. You know, all of a sudden, people aren't getting injured. We're able to play at our fullest. We're able to put the team out there on the pitch that we want, and see where the chips fall.
this just occurred to me, you guys, and I want to get into this next section about player predictions, but this just occurred to me. The women's team won the Champions League. Will that have any effect? Sleeger's kind of, winning this thing in her first half season, the biggest trophy in the world for the women, and Arteta in his 6th full season, I believe it is. Does it put any pressure, or is there any joy in this women's that's gonna even support the men trying to win a trophy and go out? I don't know. I never thought of that before, and here I am.
I would say no. It's a little. I would just say no, just based on the competition being new. I do think it helps the club in general. I'll be honest with you, like winning something like that, being able to showcase women side of the club, I think that's fantastic. Going back to the pressure question, and this is what you just asked, Eric, so I'm going to throw it back at you. You're talking about pressure. Now we're talking about the squad value. There's no excuses left. The depth is there. Like, if you top to bottom, we're talking about 4 competitions. Do you think the team actually feels pressure now? Like, not only the manager, but the players, I guess the entire squad. Do you think they feel the pressure?
No, I don't think. I think the management, the ownership, and the leaders of the club feel that pressure, but I think the players have to go in and are brought up. So I don't know what level you guys played at, but even in college where Matt and I played together, it was one game at a time. One game. You don't think about 2 games from now where you play the hardest team in the league. You think about the guys in front of you. And I think these players have been doing that, maybe thinking farther ahead than they need to sometimes in previous seasons. And I think what we talked about earlier with average age, there's enough guys on the team that have not won trophies and been really close. And we know why. Sometimes it was an injury, but Rob Holding didn't keep us from winning a trophy that year necessarily, because there was a lot of ways that we could have scored goals that we didn't score, even if he was at fault for a few goals. And those types of situations every season. So, we've learned, our players, at this club have learned over and over at this club or other clubs, but they can't be worried about that because it's going to ruin the whole season for them. You have to play one minute, one game, one play at a time.
I think
that's
fair.
This is going to be interesting to watch because, when we sit here and we talk about the manager, I think you can still say that the players are playing for him. So no one looks like they're not playing for this manager. So if you sit here and you say, get the manager out, it's like, that's why I feel like it would be putting chaos into something that seems to be at least working. But if you watch these players and with the pressure, Steven, to your point, if things are going bad, they might start actually thinking, well, I don't want to play for this manager anymore. And they're much more likely to replace the manager. And then at that point, we all kind of know it.
I think, Eric, the answer that you had is spot on from what I see. I think New York Yankees in baseball, they're a team that top value, top to bottom, they're the best year in, year out. They spend the most money. It's the fan base, right? If they don't win, it's the fan base that is projecting that onto them. I don't think the players have that mindset, the manager, because guess what? They're there next year again, going after the same thing. It's the fan base. And that's who we are.
Matt?
That's exactly who we are. I don't think the players feel that pressure. They can't if they're going to be able to play at their peak. Because if they are starting to feel the pressure, I hope that the manager takes that into account and says, okay, hey, we got to sit this person because they're not going to be able to play tonight. They're under too much. They're putting themselves under too much pressure. Because when you do that, you're going to make mistakes. You're trying to force things. You've seen that in other sporting events. People try to force their way into doing more with what they have available, and they fail time and time again. And then they get stuck in that quicksand, and then it's done. And then their whole career is shot. So I think the manager has to be very cognizant of that as he puts the lineups out there.
He seems to be very good, correct me if I'm wrong, at the big games. We talked in our last podcast about the games against the other Big Six teams and how this was the first loss in a very long time against Liverpool. But even this loss was at their stadium where they lost one time last year and where they haven't lost, big games in a really long time. They win there all the time. I think Arteta maybe isn't as good because the team looks past, and maybe he looks past some of these games against lower league competition. And my brother, his nickname is Scoob, so we refer to him as Scoob. Scoob says all the time, why are we not putting the pedal down against these 15, 16, 17 relegation position teams and scoring 5 or 6 goals? Well, Rick, the hardest thing to do in sports is to score a goal, or if it's not, hit a baseball. But you know what I mean? Like, you can't just go out and score 5 goals every time you play Leeds, but we did once, and that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about the pressure kind of being different this season. When you have a summer like we did, when you sign 8 players that are realistically first-team players, you add a different pressure to the players that they're not playing for their careers a little bit. It's not so much that they're worried about trophies. It's a World Cup year. The squad is as competitive as it has ever been. To get your playing time, you have to show up for the small game. You have to show up for that Carabao game against some random English team. So that's exciting.
Ask Manchester United about playing. So let's. I thought about it would be fun to predict what's going to happen this season for one particular player, and we'll run down Steven, Matt, KP, and I'll wrap it up.
Right on. So my player on our pod, we pick one player at the beginning of the season as a one to watch. I chose Madueke just based off of preseason, and I am glad with my pick so far. I think Madueke is going to be a guy. Fan base went crazy over the $50 million from him from Chelsea. Guess there's little point in that in itself, but I think he's proving he's going to be worth it. What we're not getting from our old left winger, Martinelli, I'm seeing stuff that I wish he did from Madueke. It's only been 3 games, but he's applying that pressure. Like KP just said, I think Martinelli's feeling that pressure. He's watching him play. He's like, man, these are things I should be doing. I've been in this squad for a few years now. I'm not producing that. So Madueke is my guy.
Do you think that Madueke is going to have that positive influence on
Do
Martinelli?
you
think
that's a good question.
Brings him out of the pit?
I don't. I think he's in a vortex. I don't know if there's any way out.
Yeah, he's stuck.
He's like Bane. Yeah, he's like Bane at the bottom of the pit right now.
Yeah, he's stuck. So I picked, because I saw what you all picked, and everybody picks those wingers and forwards, everybody that scores goals. So I picked the defender, and I went with Big Gabby, and I think from a pure footballing standpoint, 7 goals, and I'm going to give him a couple of assists this year, guys. And he's not going to score all of the goals with his head. So I've got that out there. And I'm going to say it's probably 3,800 minutes. It's not going to be the standard load that he has had for years and years at this point. I think for us to compete on all 4 fronts, he's got to have less than that. And I think that's something I'm going to be looking at a lot closer this year. How many minutes all of these guys are playing.
I like that. Over under 10 goal contributions then.
Under, I guess it is, isn't it? I had 9.
Okay. Okay, 2 assists. Okay.
Bummer.
I remember a goal that Saliba scored in one of his very first games for Arsenal. He rips it from the left side of the 18, and then I remember might have been Ricky's first or second game when he came in. He rips this goal. Might have been against City.
Yeah, it was against City.
If I recall, yeah. And so I wonder if Gabby, we've seen him already take some pretty hard shots just inside the 18 that got saved or blocked. But I feel like, man,
it's coming.
He's got one of those.
It's coming. It's coming.
I hope so. Big Gabby is one of my favorite players. I've been very excited to see him walk out with the captain's armband, especially against Liverpool. I hope we see a little bit more of that this season. For my player, I picked King Kai. I think Havertz is going to come back from this injury probably December, January, if we're being optimistic. And he's going to play a really big part in the time that really matters. And that's exciting for me. I love Kai Havertz. I think he's a great player. And I'm very excited for him to show up, man.
So what do you think? What do you think about the bulk the man has added? And you saw the preseason, the speed. What? It was just too much for him, and he just folded. His knee
honestly,
said, "I can't do this anymore."
I was so sad when I heard the news. When I heard he was injured, I was so sad because I just felt like he was going to have a really good season. And honestly, Victor has been great. We haven't really talked about sort of your reactions to the new signings, but I don't think Victor has shown anything in the first 3 games that he's played that he should be the out-and-out starter at striker. I haven't seen enough to say he's better than Kai Havertz. I don't know. Maybe other people have seen it on the comps, but I haven't.
KP, he is a different beast. He is not the same kind of player. He's not going to drop deep. He's not going to, be involved in the build-up play. He is the tip of the spear, which Kai Havertz is not. And he's a beast. And when you're a beast, you need to get fed. And we're not feeding him. The best skills he has is running in behind and then getting those. Think about Erling Haaland. He gets those ones the ball comes across to him and he just comes up with an amazing shot one time. That's what this man is. Gyökeres is that guy, and we need to run him in behind. He has his classic move like Saka, which is to come down, cut back, and hit it into the near post, not the far post, and low. He has that, and we've seen it against it. I think it was the second goal against Leeds. But we're not feeding him. We're not giving him the sustenance he needs to prove he can score. He needs the ball.
I hear you. I hear you on all those fronts. And I think that's why my prediction is that Kai Havertz is going to show up for people and score the really important goals in the big games, in the Champions League, the goals that you're all wanting Victor to score. It might just be Kai Havertz, and that's my prediction.
I like it. Because that puts us in those big games, and that puts us with the opportunity to score those goals. So I'm with you.
I think the player I'm picking is Max Dowman, and it's an interesting pick because he's, I hope, not going to get a lot of minutes, but I just wrote a blog about it, which is why I'm picking him. It's called Maxed Out: The Danger of Early Hype, right? So you can hit us on our Substack to read that. But the point is I look at all these teen stars who got hyped, and it was the pressure and of the expectations. They get an early goal in their career, and then everybody has this high expectation that it's going to happen all the time. And you look at Reece Nelson as maybe an example in his early 20s. I think it was, he's 23, 24 as well. But like 2-3 years ago, he gets that goal against Bournemouth, and we're all like, oh my God, this is the best guy in the world. But that pressure, you can't do that every single game. He's not that player. And to heap that pressure on him. So Jermaine Pennant was like that for Arsenal. Ravel Morrison was like that for United. Macheda, Freddie Adu, going right into DC where we all know, right? 14 years old. He was. Was
he 14?
He's the next Pele. Well, exactly. I was just going to ask the same thing, right? And there's more and more. So, but then you look at people who were treated right: Saka, Odegaard. Alphonso Davies he played for Vancouver and then went to Bayern Munich and had a long career because they developed him. Christian Pulisic, we all know him and how he was brought through slowly, and Jurgen Klopp thought really highly of him, but you only get so many games, right? Phil Foden came in a little bit at a time until he became the MVP basically, 2 seasons ago, right? But patience matters, and we have to realize that we're going to see these bright moments that he's going to bring us, whether it's cutting inside, beating a guy and getting a penalty kick, or scoring that goal, He had chances in that game that he could have scored. So had he scored one of those goals and it ends up 6-0, what is our expectation of him after that? And it's a process. He's 15 years old. I want to see him play. Matt and I talked in our preseason, how many minutes is he going to get? And I think Matt said 400 minutes in the Premier League. If we can get him 400 minutes in all 4 competitions, I feel like that's about right. A few minutes here and there within the Premier League when the game is the right situation. In fact, I wouldn't have brought him in the last game. I would have brought Winery in the last game. But we need to really value his long-term growth. And if we put that pressure on him, it means the team is going to put that pressure on him, and it's not going to be great.
So that last game, is that something you see that's going to happen regularly? What you're saying, 400 minutes, that's probably not the case. Myself and KP were very surprised he came in. I think we were on the Winery train ourselves, just as a 15-year-old Anfield. Surprising decision by Arteta of all people. But in other games like that in the future, is that a regular occurrence, or do you think he was trying to send a message?
Who's that message to?
I guess Winery, Trossard, whoever else was on the bench that didn't get in, and the 15-year-old came on.
So to me, it's a message to Winery that Winery, you're playing in the center of the park. You're not playing on the wing anymore. That's not where we want you to play. We want you to focus in the center, backing up Odegaard. Period. We want you to focus on that role. That's how I took that. If you're saying sending a message, maybe that's the message that was sent to Winery. But boy, this Max guy is a different cat, guys. He is different. I cannot explain it because I have no way of quantifying it. But I see it with my own eyes. He is different. Then he's different than Saka. He's different than MLS. He's different.
So he's a different cat.
He seems able. Yes, he's a different cat. I'm trying to think of a different cat. I don't know.
Here's the question, Matt. If you're talking about last episode and it was referred today, more cat, less mouse, does that mean you want more Max Dowman?
Well, I think I'm on record. Yes, I would like to see Max play more and more in the Premier League, because I don't think for him to develop, I don't think he's going to develop in the under 21s. Whatever the next level up, under 23s, he's not going to develop there. Guys, he's only going to develop playing with the first team, playing against men in this competition. That's the only way he's going to grow and develop. And I love what I've seen from him. Courage. That guy has no fear.
So we talked about, is it sending a message or is he that good? That's what we were debating on our live. Is he really that good? We don't know. Obviously, you've put in the time to watch. Maybe he is that good.
Madueke was going around the newly signed left back for Liverpool, and we've seen Max Dowman beat everybody in the preseason and in the first 2 games. He got to the point where he's dribbling around the corner, and that same fullback that Madueke was making look foolish stuffed Max Dowman every single time. He didn't really get anything if you go back and watch it. So I think the putting him in minutes against professionals, against men, not boys, yes, he needs that. But don't forget that the men at most of these teams in the Premier League, they're going to kick him. They're going to knock him around. We saw it in the preseason. And it's the same. There's still men in second division, championship, in those competitions in the FA Cup or the soft drink cup, there's still those are still men, and they're going to beat him up too. But their quality is still higher than U23s, U21s, but maybe not Premier League yet. That's where he needs those 400 minutes. Maybe next year it's 800 minutes, and then the next year it's 1,600 minutes. He's still 1,600 minutes.
Oh, I get it.
Max is exciting. I agree with you. Absolutely. And I think that the cool thing about him is that you were naming all those young players that had a goal that kind of helped kickstart his career, but we haven't even seen that from him. We've all just watched him play and we all think he's really good. Mm-hmm. So that's really exciting. So would you predict that he actually scores a Premier League goal this season?
Yeah, I think he's going to get a couple hundred minutes in the Premier League, or at least 150 150, 180, something like 2 full games at least. And in that time, he's going to get at least 1. I think, Matt, you said he was going to get 4, and I said he was going to get 2.
Yep. Yeah, I think 4. 4 was the total.
All right, KP.
So he's definitely going to score, and it's going to be glorious, and we're all going to wet ourselves and cry when it happens.
So the number is 3 then, over under 3.
That's right. I want to talk about kits, but before we do that, let's talk about the fucking PGMOL.
We just wanted to kind of have an honest chat about the officiating of the Premier League. I feel like as American supporters of the Arsenal, we have some experience with kind of video technology in our sports. So I was kind of interested to see what you all thought about how it's been implemented in the league. I mean, we speak about officiating every now and then, and we really try to talk about it not just from an Arsenal perspective, because we've seen the integrity of the game kind of been questioned for us over the last decade or so, you could say, with some of these officiating decisions that we're seeing across all matches.
Well, for me, it starts with where do all these officials that referee the Premier League games come from? They're all from Manchester. I think maybe there's one Australian. There's nobody from London. I guarantee that. So they all come from the Manchester area.
Or at
so
least
they have
northwest-ish, yeah.
They have that sort of bias built into how they want their football to be played and what they adjudge a foul. And oh, I know that kid. He didn't mean that foul. That's not a yellow card for him, but it might be a yellow card for Xhaka. So I think there's an inherent bias that comes into play with having all of your officials from one area. I think you have to have a variety of opinions in a variety of places. I mean, for crying out loud, I can't believe there's not one good official in London. Come on. Really?
Well, Matt,
none.
Do all of them have to come from England? Can we bring in the best? I mean, if this is the best league in the world, and yet we don't have the best officiating, my opinion is this league should be able to pay the PGMOL enough money for the referees so that they can pay the best referees from Chile or Argentina or the United States or somewhere in Africa, any of the other top 5 leagues in Europe. A good referee, the kind that make it to the World Cup and the European Championships, those should be the people that are the guys in charge of these games and the guys making decisions for VAR.
Agreed. I think the major shakeup needs to be the personnel. I always think of the European refs, like in the Champions League. The guy that looks like Leo Trossard, I think his name is Turpin. That's like that referee. Every time we see him on the game, like, yeah, this is going to be a good one, right? He's going to let things go. He's going to play it right. I think it's all about changing the personnel. The one good note about PGMOL is that they're consistent and consistently bad at that, right? Like, you know what you're going to get. So they do have consistency on their side.
The inconsistency, Matt, what did we talk about in the last one? Was it the Everton penalty kick for Tarkowski, and then the not penalty for Szoboszlai?
Right. So it's the same action that happens. The against Leeds, Everton, it's a shot. The Leeds player takes a shot and it hits, what's his name? Tarkowski, the guy that gets all the yellow cards and never gets a red. It hits him in the upper arm and it's called a penalty. I think we saw not one incident, but 2 incidents like that in the Liverpool match that was just played. Kanate was easily one of them, and then Szoboszlai, that is just bonkers how that's not a penalty. So, to make that more Arsenal focused, because that's what I look at, I found those to be very wildly inconsistent applications of the technology as well as the rule.
And it's not the first time we've seen it that way. I mean, Matt and I on social media and in our podcast, we just go #Arsenal. Like when we don't get that call in the middle of a game and we're texting each other, #Arsenal. And we know exactly what it means. And, when you look at Rice's red card, when you look at, I think it was last year, the one in midfield where Saliba got red carded, and the very next day, the same thing happened further towards the sideline in a Chelsea game, and the Chelsea guy was not red carded. Same exact situation. So the inconsistencies across not just fouls, not just penalty kicks, but for us cards, touching the ball away and getting a red card, that's silly.
Yeah, I said consistently bad. Maybe the way you put it is better. It's consistently inconsistent. Like, what is a handball? Like, I understand some rules are in the gray, right? Like a foul, it could be in the gray area. It depends on the referee in the middle. Handball to me is a little bit more black and white. Yes, there is a little bit of gray there. But I don't know what a handball is anymore. When I watch a game, I have no clue. And then you join the Champions League and the handball doesn't matter if it's on the bicep, if it's on the sleeve, it's a handball. That's the way they call it. Like the Szoboszlai one, if that was a Champions League game, to me, that's a penalty, without a doubt. Maybe that's the better way to do it, even though you're like, oh, that's harsh. I know what it is when I'm watching it. Maybe that's the way to go about it.
I feel like, and I said this, I think in our last podcast, that against Liverpool 2 years ago, Martin lost his balance, and when he put his hand down, he literally put his hand on the ball to hold himself up, and it was in our box, and they didn't call that a penalty. I don't know how that's not a penalty, and I feel like not giving us penalties on obvious handballs was maybe payback, because that happened against Liverpool, and this was against Liverpool. So I don't like that. Each individual situation has to have its own straight-up opportunity. We've got about 8 or 9 minutes left, and I do want to get through, if we can, just you guys' thoughts on best kits, because ESPN had an article, and if you get a chance to go on there, it's Premier League 25-26 kits ranking every jersey, and so that's been released. And so go on ESPN, look that up. But I put a couple here for you guys, best and worst. So let's start with the worst. Did you get a chance to look at that and pick out some shitty kits?
Yeah, this is a good article.
I have to agree with them on the Manchester City third kit. Oof.
I picked that as my
That's
worst
the
one.
worst.
It's supposed to represent
Leeds.
the Manchester Rain. And if you zoom in on the picture, folks,
Manchester
it's
Rain?
just terrible. It looks like it's water-stained. Their kit is a water-stained gray Manchester cloud. It's awful.
I don't know. That Leeds United third kit is mighty bad.
For me, it's the
But I'm
Leeds
not a
United. Those
fan
are
of
my
that
worst.
red. I'm not a fan of that Red Bulls logo anyway. But oof, that's hideous.
That's my worst, just because of the logo. I'm with you. That it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I don't like the Fulham one, the away kit for Fulham. It's, I think, ranked 50 by ESPN. I just don't like that green color. Nothing about it like scares me, I guess, when I look at it.
We did a black kit a couple years ago, and I thought our black kit was really good. I don't remember what the sort of subliminal behind the scenes sort of pattern on it was, but I liked in general the way that looked. And there's a lot of black kits, and the second worst and third worst for me were the 90s throwback for Chelsea. It's a terrible kit. And then after that, the Tottenham kit, it just looks, I don't know, plain, boring. It's just a black shirt with white.
I just as an aside, the fact that player that we've got him representing the Tottenham folks, and he's no longer playing for Tottenham. That just strikes me as funny. Yeah.
Yeah, Son is wearing the home kit in this in this.
That just strikes me as amusing. They can't even get that right.
That's pretty
Let's go to
good.
your favorites. What are some of your favorites?
My favorite, other than the Arsenal third kit, Crystal Palace third kit, and it just looks like a classic vintage kit to me. Like, if you think of go back in the 80s, 90s of like a soccer kit, that to me is the epitome.
Describe it.
It's bold. It's white on the outsides. On the inside, it has that blue and the red, which contrasts good. It's just big. It's bold. When you see it, you know what it is. There's no confusion about it. I like that.
I agree. That was my third favorite.
Yeah, I'm looking at these. Actually, Newcastle also are represented by Isak. It looks like on the
Is that
photos.
right?
Yeah,
I don't think they thought he was going to go.
but as much as I don't like Newcastle, I do like their kit. I think that the color scheme is nice. To be fair,
Their home kit?
yeah, they're classic black and white.
Is it the one with like the teal on it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that is clean.
Outside of that Crystal Palace kit, and of course Arsenal's third kit, I really did like Burnley's. I think it's third or away kit. It's black and it's gold, and it has on the left shoulder a honeycomb, which I just think is so cool, a nod to the bees.
That is nice.
And then West Ham's third kit has two giant hammers for the logo, and I like that navy blue with gold and those hammers. That's just, it's classy. I like it. That was my second favorite, West Ham. And then, of course, ESPN and each of the four of us, the Arsenal kit, that's the best kit.
Easy.
I think the world believes that.
Yeah, Adidas did right there, didn't they? They did a
It's
nice
been so
job on
nice
that
to
one.
have Adidas. I don't want Puma ever again, to be
It was
honest.
the
Oh,
worst.
they were terrible, weren't they? I don't think there was a good one amongst those years.
No, that
It represented our state.
The shirt I have right now. Yeah, right. The shirt I have right now is my favorite Arsenal shirt. This is the home 1971, no sponsor, red down the middle, cannon, white sleeves, plain with the red piping or whatever at the end. I love this. It feels like the 70s. I had shirts just like this that weren't branded Arsenal or anything. I love this shirt.
That's a cool kit.
That third kit deserves to go down in lore, right? Like the season that we had that kit, you got to remember it. It's like the marble kit, right? We won the FA Cup in it, but that was a terrible season overall. But you remember the marble kit. You remember it because we won the FA Cup in it. So I hope this one we remember it for maybe a Champions League or something. Who knows?
Well, last year was the yellow shirt or the year before? The yellow with the weird black stripes that was supposed to represent like
It was the
elevation map.
topography. Yeah, it was the
Yeah,
topography of.
That was voted the worst of all the kits last year or the year that it came out, and Matt and I both bought it because it is a standout kit. Ugly as fuck, but you need to have it. You need to have an ugly as fuck shirt in your life. You know?
I look fondly upon that one actually. That ended up being a good kit, I feel like.
Yeah, but you look at Brentford's kits. What's going on with those this year? Those are just awful.
UPS all zhuzhed up. That's my note.
Oh, horrible.
I don't remember.
I mean, they showed them, they're in khakis, wearing their uniform, wearing this third kit.
They're
What
trying
the
to represent.
what is going on?
Because we're not going to wear a uniform. We're going to wear khakis with our shirt or jeans.
I don't know.
Wrangler.
I don't know. That looks.
Where can we find you guys? Where can folks find you guys on the web? What you write, what you read, what you speak.
Yeah, everyone can get involved with us a little bit more on BlueSky. That's our sort of messaging social platform. We are at 2dcgooners.bsky.social, and we're available on all the podcasts, District Gooner Pod. And Matt and Eric, honestly, thanks for having us on. It's been fun to catch up and talk about the Arsenal. We're staying as optimistic as we can, and hopefully we can do another one soon.
We love having you guys on. Matt, why don't you wrap up telling everybody where they can find us? And as always, good to see your face. Matt's like, I don't know where we are.
I don't know.
We're on Substack, Stateside Gooners. We're on BlueSky, Stateside Gooners the thing. You just find us on there. And then we're on, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, and we're on Patreon. And nobody's listening on Patreon, by the way. But we have it there in case you want to. Thanks, guys, for being on. And I love it. You guys are smart. You're handsome. And you're funny. So I hope to see you guys again soon. We talked last summer about doing something in January as we got through into the the winter window. So if we don't do anything before then, let's make sure we do it then.
Okay.
Well,
sounds good.
At a minimum, we'll all get together when Arteta gets fired, right? Yeah, we'll do that.
We will have to have some sort of emergency
long one.
collab. Yeah.
Yes, long one on that one. Okay.
I'm hoping that we never have to have that podcast. All right, guys. Good to see your faces as always. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye now. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to Stateside Gooners Arsenal FC show. Every episode, we bring American Gooners together to dive into the emotions, the tactics, and all the action on and off the pitch. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, share it with your fellow Gooners to keep the Arsenal conversation going. Until next time, from across the pond, this is where our Arsenal community meets. Win, lose, draw. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.